Welcome back to Real Push Podcast. We are with former FBI negotiator involved in over 150 plus international negotiations. He is the CEO of the Black Swan Group. He is also a professor and a lecturer at some of the highest institutions around, such as Georgetown and Harvard Law. He is the one and only Chris Voss. Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And then Never Split the Difference is the book.
That's absolutely right. Bestseller, Never Split the Difference, came out in 2016.
2016, yeah.
Chris, why was it so important for you to be here today for BUILD24 Detroit?
They're good people here, first. You know, there's always, I like the good people who want to collaborate, good people who are trying to make the world a better place. The core foundations, the core values of BUILD24 are stuff that I line up with. And I love to do business with people that want to make the world a better place through their profession. You know, everybody's got to make a living. And if you want to make the world a better place, you might as well make a pretty good living while you're at it.
It's a beautiful thing.
Man, well, amen to that. Well said.
It's a beautiful thing. Now, what makes you happy about the book Never Split the Difference?
You know, because it continues to have a global impact. It sells well globally. It sells well in China. It sells well in India. It sells well in Pakistan. Because around the world we're human, and there's a deep need to be understood, which then triggers collaboration. And that's what I love about it. The book has led the Amazon business negotiation category since it came out. It's number one today. The only time the Audible isn't number one is sometimes the hardback beats the Audible.
Got you, yeah.
Usually the number one and number two positions are both my book. That's cool. But for me, what's even cooler is the global appeal.
It is. It's
Well,
pretty awesome.
Dominic helped the audio purchases because he certainly purchased that. We were preparing to hopefully get you
I'll
on
take
here.
all the help I can get.
I did.
Chris, so cool, so calm, so collected, just coming off stage. I paid attention to the entire room. Everybody was so captivated, taking in every word you said because it was so powerful and so impactful. And thank you for delivering that to a bunch of real estate agents was our audience today. What can we look forward to in the future from Black Swan, from Chris Voss? What's down the pipeline? You mind giving us a sneak peek?
Well, a couple things. A documentary film called Tactical Empathy was just released on Amazon.
Nice.
It was produced by Nick Nanton of DNA Films.
Okay.
And it just came out. And so if you want a more interesting, you get a little bit of the backstory, you get some history, the origin of what the Black Swan method is, the cases that I worked. It's also an attempt to show that there's another avenue to smoothing out police disadvantaged community problems other than an increase in force. And there's some featured people in also that in the documentary, but it's about making the world a better place. So that's out. And then also in October, we're going to launch a bourbon.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, what came up with that? How did
Well, Nick again. Nick gets stuff done, and so he came up to me and he said, "Let's start a bourbon. It'll be the world's first business bourbon to celebrate business success. We're going to call the bourbon The Difference.
Wow, that's a
And
good
the
one.
tagline will be Never Split, Always Share."
That is phenomenal.
I'll be waiting in line
That
for
is
that.
phenomenal. Never split, always share. And I think what's going to be absolutely momentum gaining and traction for the bourbon. You know, everybody's launching these tequilas and these vodkas. We got a bourbon coming out with such a catchy tagline, which is a lot to look forward to. Detroit and Michigan in general,
Made
is
for
a
business
massive
deals.
market.
Made for
bourbon.
business.
Oh, we like bourbon here.
like
Huh?
bourbon here.
Yeah, very good.
We got the right pipeline for it. Chris, before we let you go, we're so grateful for your time. How can our followers get a hold of you on social media? What are some of the hashtags to follow you?
Well, my Instagram is the FBI Negotiator.
Okay.
At the FBI Negotiator. We put a lot of posts up. I mean, on a daily basis, we're sharing ideas, nuggets that hopefully are going to help people be better negotiators. You know, ideally, if you're a better negotiator, you're a better person at the same time. Collaborative.
True.
And then, so we got ideas every day that you could use, and then there are announcements about events that we're doing, training we're holding, is usually through my Instagram. So it's the
And
FBI
then
Negotiator.
Never Split the Difference, the book on Amazon. I got the audio on Spotify as well.
Yeah.
And then iTunes. We're audio on iTunes as well.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm having trouble keeping up with Amazon.
I know, I get it.
Amazon, I can tell you something. If you're selling something, Amazon's a place to sell it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That man right there is one of your co-authors, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Curtis.
Empathy and understanding
Come
and
on through.
leadership.
Let me hand you the microphone real quick, and I'll have Dom ask the question here. Curtis, we know you did a co-author as well, Empathetic Leadership.
I did.
Yep.
I was very fortunate, yes.
Gentlemen, tell us about your relationship and how things came about.
Well,
Big man.
yeah, we have a mutual friend, and I was doing a project with Nick Nann, a really great friend of ours, and through Nick, I got to meet Chris. Through Chris, we got to collaborate on a book, which when you're working with a guy who's at this level, at this caliber, and you're looking to do something big, you know, the guy's got best-selling books, and he just writes the next one and the next one and the next one, and he says, hey, I'd like to have you in it. Then
Yep.
it's
Yep.
That's what
yes.
networking is all about.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
networking is all about.
Bestseller almost immediately on Amazon.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a fun thing. We were actually going to do a little boost for the book, and we met in Vegas. So we went out to Vegas, and where Chris is from, where he lives, and we had set up a big night, and we had this really celebration about the book and everything. And that day, we were going to do this big push, promotion for the book, and it hit bestseller before we got to the dinner. We were like, oh,
crazy?
well, I
That's
guess
crazy.
we made it. Yeah.
That is wild. That is wild. He did mention you on our podcast as well. He was on there for a while. He mentioned the book coming out.
Yeah, it
Little
was a
sneak
cool
peek.
project.
It was awesome.
It was a great collaboration. I loved it.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Guys, you know where to follow Chris, the FBI negotiator, on social media, a man that absolutely captivated our audience today. Talks about all things good, talks about doing the right thing, talks about the art of the negotiation, and is providing a platform to make all of our businesses grow. Kurt, you certainly do that on a daily basis with your coaching and everything you
Absolutely.
provide. Such a pleasure to have you two. Congratulations on your success. We are so excited to see what the future has for you two.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back. Fresh off stage, Lewi Gault. Lewi, fantastic job up there. Why was it so important for you to be here at BUILD24 Detroit?
You know, I just feel like we're in a time in our industry right now where people just need help. And it's funny, like we do a lot of coaching with agents, and we're just seeing that some people don't want to admit that like the industry's shifting and changing so much.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just like, I'm just going to try and get through this on my own. And I think sometimes we get to these events and we hear people speak and it's great, but sometimes they just need to hear like, hey, it's okay if you're not prepared, like, but you have to start taking steps. Like you have to take some steps to get to where you want to go. So yeah, I just really wanted to come and share that today. So that was awesome.
Beautiful thing. Beautiful speech up there too. I wanted to come back to how is AI going to affect these coming years? You talked about some of your coaching strategies up there, what it takes to be a successful agent this year. Do you think AI is going to help? Is it not going to help? What's your vision on that?
Yeah, I do. I do think it's going to help. I don't think it's going to replace, which I think a lot of people are fearful about.
Right.
But I think it is going to help dramatically to assist us to what we want to do. Like for instance, like we have, a lot of bots built out on ChatGPT, who for me take away hours of work at a time where I'd have to do with clients, with different things. So like building out GPTs that will help with listing presentations. And so it's really, for me, it's more taking like the admin work, some of the kind of heavy lifting and using AI to help me with that. But I know a lot of agents are kind of a little fearful of getting into it too much because they think like if all of us realtors start using it, it's going to just learn what we do and replace us. I don't think that's it. I think it's too much of a personal purchase for our clients.
True.
I don't think they're ever going to fully trust a robot with hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars.
Still in the early
purchase.
stages.
I think so.
Still in the
Louis,
early stages.
that is so spot on, that assessment, because I would tell you that is so accurate, having gone through it myself. I'm an EXP agent as well.
Yep.
We do some tremendous volume, Dominic and myself and some of our team, but you can't replace the human element.
Yep.
I
Definitely.
think leveraging technology, the whole theme here today is expand, leveraging technology, AI automation. There's a small piece that'll be used, but the message, the way we coach, the way we interact with humans, and you're so right about so many shifting times coming up. What are you telling these guys that are part of your team in terms of what's changing? What's the biggest message that you can deliver?
Honestly, it's getting back to basics. I
Yep.
think that's a lot of things I'm hearing from
Yeah,
everyone,
the ground floor
which
stuff.
is really cool, right? Because I think there's been a lot of arrogance in our industry over the last few years, right?
Yeah.
And maybe it's from agents coming in, I'll just say it, who maybe shouldn't have been in the industry.
Of
right?
course, which should be flushed out, we think, right? Coming up.
Yeah.
Right?
And I do think we're seeing a huge drove of people leave the industry, and I think that's a good thing because I think our professionalism has to raise, our standard has to go higher, and I think we can learn a lot from the older generation of agents, the one who went through 2008.
Going
the
back old school.
Yeah,
The old school
absolutely.
routes.
You know,
Yeah.
because if we can take the traditional, build our foundations, but then use technology to help us integrate it, I think that's what we need to be doing.
100%.
Beautiful.
Louis, how does our audience get a hold of you on social? If you want to follow this guy, how do they get a hold of you?
Yep, just look up Lewi Gault on Instagram, YouTube. That's my 2 main places to go. So yeah, hit me up if you need anything at all. Always happy to chat.
Let's go.
Scotland Sensation, thanks so much
My
for joining us,
All right,
man.
Thank you, brother.
absolutely.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you.
Absolutely.
You got it. Mo, Dominic Szabo, welcome back to Real Push Podcast. We are sitting with the CEO of the AI Academy, the one and only Phil Stringer. Phil, thanks so much for joining us.
Man, it's an honor. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. It's awesome.
Phil, we got you fresh off the stage, and we had about 10 speakers today, and Dominic and I were looking around, and I can honestly tell you, everyone was so drawn in and so captivated during your moment up there. You had some amazing details to share. Why was it so important for you to be at BUILD24 Detroit today?
Build changed my life. Build 22 was the first build that I did.
Right.
And it took me from a place of depression, and it put me in the rooms with the right people to focus on something positive and being kind to others, pouring into other people's lives, and to collaborate rather than focus on my own self. And so for Build, I was like, I am going to pour into Build, and I'm going to be here. I'm going to speak. I'm going to do as many builds as I can because it changed the game for me, and I wanted to give back.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What makes you happy about the quote that was repeated a lot? One act of kindness.
Yeah. So I think
I love that, by the way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that.
everyone goes through hard times. And the thing is that we don't always understand what people are going through. Like, I'm sitting here next to you guys. I know that there's hard things that you're going through that I don't know, right? I know that there are things that you're going through. I have no idea, but we all go through stuff, and we share the highlight reel. We share all the good things. We don't always share the bad things because those are the hard things to be vulnerable about and share.
True.
And so if me knowing that everyone's going through hard stuff,
Yeah.
I just don't know. If I can be kind and if I can just do one kind thing for others, even if it's just a smile, I can change that person's mood, that person's perspective for the rest of the day, or I could change their life in a moment. My life was changed in a moment by people who were kind to me, and they didn't even realize it, right? So if that happened to me, then it can happen if I do it to someone else.
Yeah, and I feel like that's resonated with you to a point where it's like you've made it your life to reciprocate that and to share that back. Finish me on the quote. We've gone through so much information today. Some of the happiest faces
Hide the hardest battles.
Yeah.
Very
I
true.
just want to tear up on that because we see it all the time. You had some great information. You had one of the longest lines of people waiting to talk to you afterwards. Chat GPT. I know the whole theme today was expand. Technology, automation, AI. How is this a game changer for a lot of the agents heading into the future years of their business?
You know, AI can either be the biggest waste of your time as a real estate agent, or it can be the thing that saves you the most. And if we know what to focus on and we know what to do, then we can really save a lot of time and we can make a lot of money using it. It comes to the point where it's like there's 1,000 AI tools right now.
True. Very true.
And if you don't know what to do, I always say that real estate agents have 2 issues when it comes to AI, ChatGPT, these models. They don't know what to ask and they don't know how to ask it to get the right result. And so we end up going on these rabbit trails where we end up actually wasting time when we're trying to save time.
Yeah.
And so to be able to say, look, guys, like I've done the research. I've given the last couple of years of my life to this to help real estate agents use AI the proper way and be efficient with it to say, look, don't worry about all the other junk. Just focus on step 1, step 2, step 3. This is what you need to know. It condenses time for people because then they don't have to go and do the rabbit trail of like trying to figure out what to do. It's like, here, just do this.
Yeah, yeah. And for those of our listeners that weren't here, he's got an unbelievable package that typically most people would pay $10,000 for, and in exchange today is for an act of kindness. Phil, I mean this wholeheartedly. I know Dominic does too. It's such a breath of fresh air to see your success, man.
I appreciate
love what
that.
you're doing. Real quick before we let you go, how do our listeners, how do our followers get a hold of you? How do they follow your platform? What do you want to
give
tell
some
them?
handles out.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably Instagram is the one that we are most involved with. So at Phil Stringer, PhilStringer. And then philstringer.com has kind of where I'm going, where I'm speaking, and then, a way to connect with me and my team as well.
Future looks bright. The future looks bright, man.
He is the CEO, of the AI Academy. He's probably going to be the CEO of a few other businesses down the road. Phil, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.